Are bare roof racks actually secure? Can they hold your gear up there? Does rain or moisture leak into those areas that clip into the door? Well, I'm gonna answer those questions and many more in this video when I talk about my experience with a bare roof rack system. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've had a bare roof rack on my vehicle for actually just over 1.5 years now, and I've put thousands and thousands of miles into my vehicle with the roof rack system installed with a variety of things from roof boxes to ski racks on top of there. I've hung lights from the thing too, and I've put it through all kinds of conditions, gone up into the snowy mountains with it. I've taken it down to the southern desert area of Utah. I definitely have a lot of experience around this thing, and I'm gonna share some of my thoughts and how well it has worked for me. Just a quick note, the specific products I have the Yakima baseline towers, and I have a Yakima core bar. I think it's their mid-range bar. They have a round bar and then a more aerodynamic, expensive aluminum bar. I just went with the mid-range option. I also recently got the SKS locks by Yakima, so I could lock the system in after I have it installed. And then as a side note, I also have a ski rack. That's the Yakima Fat Cat Evo 6. And I have a roof box, the Thule Pulse Medium. But we're focusing on the bare roof rack system today. Of course, those links can be found down below if you want to check them out. But I will note, these are expensive when you're investing in a roof rack system. I think it's gonna cost around $500 to $600 for what I got. You can often find deals on these things, but still just know they are not cheap, unfortunately. But anyways, let's get into some of the questions I had when I was doing my research and some of the ones you might have had as well. So firstly, obviously the most important thing, is it secure? Does it stay in your car? I have been incredibly impressed by this thing. When I first installed it, I was yanking and tugging at it. It wouldn't budge even an inch. That thing is on there when installed properly. And I have no reservations about putting any kind of gear up there, and I've never had any issues of anything coming off the system. Now, speaking about installing it properly, the installation is a little tricky. That was something that I had reservations about. Well, I shouldn't necessarily say tricky. It's straightforward what you need to do. It just might be time consuming with only one person. And the instructions that came with the product didn't actually work quite right for my vehicle, even though they were supposed to have the measurements dialed into my vehicle. It was in between a raised and flat portion of my car, so I had to adjust it slightly just to make sure those mounting points were flat and flush against my vehicle. I have an older video on my channel from about a year ago that shows how I went through the installation process and gives a quick time-lapse overview of some of the work that went into it. So if you want to check that out, I'll link that down below too. Second, moisture, water, rain, weather conditions. Because the system clips into your door frame and it makes a little indent where the rubber padding is usually up against the door, many people wonder if rain or weather or other kinds of conditions leak into your vehicle. I've never experienced this, never had any issues, even with the things clipped into the door. I've put this through rain, snow, like I've mentioned, in all kinds of conditions, and never have noticed anything coming into the vehicle. It's not gonna ruin your weatherproofing, it won't damage the ceiling of your vehicle. So what do bare roof racks work with? Well, personally, I've only used a ski rack and a roof box, and they've both worked great. I've had no issues with it, and honestly, these bare roof rack systems can work with a variety of vehicles, which is awesome. I've seen smaller sedans use these things. I have an SUV. You could put it on a truck or something if you really wanted to, I would imagine. You just always need to be cognizant of the weight load of your vehicle's roof. Now, most vehicles can hold about 165 pounds, but definitely check your manual to see what will work with your specific vehicle if you're considering a system like this. Another question, once you do get this thing installed, is it removable? Yes, but you probably don't want to always remove it because it's kind of a pain to put back on and take off. So yes, it is definitely removable if you want to take it off, and it's highly recommended to do so if you're doing things like car washes and such. When I've removed it from my vehicle, never noticed any marks, haven't had any issues. I was just able to put it back on when I was ready to. I know a big question I had too was about gas mileage. Does putting this on top of your car really negatively impact your gas mileage? Well, there's a couple of things to consider. So yes, of course, with any kind of roof system on top of your vehicle, it is gonna cause drag because there's an extra thing on top of your vehicle, and as wind hits it, it's not as aerodynamic as it used to be, which is gonna mean that your vehicle requires more power to keep going forward at the speeds that you want to. So you may suffer some gas mileage, but it's probably not gonna be noticeable. In fact, I haven't noticed much of a difference when I've been using my roof rack. If I have the big roof box on, I do maybe notice it going down a little bit faster than it usually does, but with just like a roof rack and like a ski rack, I've hardly noticed any difference. So yes, your gas mileage is gonna go down just by the nature of how physics work, but it's probably not gonna be super noticeable. At least I haven't noticed it. So yeah, I can't say I'm an expert when it comes to these kind of calculations for gas mileage, but that's just my personal experience with it. So those are the main questions I had. You might also be wondering if there's anything I don't like about this roof rack and my specific Yakima system that I have. One, I'm kind of annoyed that it didn't come with the locks that lock the towers into place. That's an extra $50 to order those. And because of that, I had a plastic housing on the baseline system actually come off at one point in the road and I didn't notice. So when I got back to my house, it was just gone. I had no idea where I lost it. Thankfully, I reached out to Yakima and through warranty and other services, it did get replaced at no cost to me, which was very nice. But it was frustrating because this would have been prevented if the locks just came with the system in the first place, and I really think they should include them. And with the price you're paying for these roof rack systems, I really think the locks should come with it. Secondly, it is kind of weird that there's two different types of clips for the front bar and the back bar. It maybe is kind of nice because it hugs your vehicle a little more in the right spots, but I don't know, I've always had some issues with it, and I kind of wish both of them were the same curved clip. That second one's a very minor complaint, and the first complaint is definitely solvable by dropping a little more money, unfortunately. So again, these are not deal breakers for me, and I don't think they would be for many of you either. So those are my thoughts about the functionality of a Bare Roof Rack system. Let me know if you have any additional questions that I didn't answer in this video. I'd be happy to try and answer them in the comments. Again, I've had this thing for a while now, and if any of you are out in the market looking for a similar product, I'd love to try and help you through that journey. But yeah, thank you as always for watching, and happy adventuring out there.